Nico, Carlisle at home on Saturday, but before we get into that one, let's start with January. Luke Harris, first run through the door, someone that we've been after for a while. What will he bring to the team?
Technically excellent. He's a hard-working player. We saw that yesterday just in one training session. I think he's of a similar ilk to Stano in that way. Doesn't give up on things, wants to work hard, has no problem in making a mistake and then reacting to go and get it back, which I think any young player needs to be brave to do. Mistakes are going to happen. You're going to give the ball away, especially playing as a 10 or a higher player. And sometimes the reaction to go and get the ball back will create another chance. And I think Stano showed that regularly last season. Luke plays predominantly a little bit deeper, probably as a 10. But he's an exciting player. He scores goals. He's creative, and we're looking forward to seeing what he does in an Exeter shirt.
An excellent record at youth level. He made senior appearances for Fulham as well, and as he said himself yesterday, goal scorer. And it's certainly something we need to start finding the net a little bit more often.
Yeah, I mean that's goes without saying. Really, there's nothing much I can add to that. You know, we create chances. We just need more players in the right areas to go and finish those chances. It was good to score 2 away at Reading, despite the result. And I think Luke is going to come in and be the kind of guy that wants to get in those areas to be on the end of things. And so again, it'll be really exciting watching him on Saturday.
In terms of further recruitment, I think we're fairly all on the same page about what we need to bring in this month. What can the Exeter City fans expect from the rest of this January transfer window?
There will be players coming in. We've just said there, I think longer term, I think it would be good to sit down with the stakeholders, the fans, the trust, those guys, and probably be a bit more transparent in what happens when we're trying to sign players. It's not a straightforward process. It's particularly at the level we're at, and with some of the clubs that are up and coming in the league below. There's a lot of financial clout out there, and some of it's probably not sustainable, but that's not their problem right now. They're just busy trying to sign players, and it has a knock-on effect to everything. We can't just say we want that player and then go and sign them. It's not as simple as that. So there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes over a long period of time to make sure that we've got several lists of players that fit what we're after, and then we have to work towards those players, and we have to sell them what we do. We have to show them how we're going to help them. We have to work with the clubs that they're at to make sure they know they're coming to a good place. And even after all that's said and done, you're in competition with at least 24 other teams, probably 48. So it's a fascinating process. It really is very interesting. I'm sure it's very frustrating for our fans when they feel like they're close to something and it doesn't happen, or they're expecting somebody to walk through the door and it's not quite in time for them. But we're happy with Luke. We're happy with the lads that we've got coming back to fitness, and we're happy with the squad that we've got. And we feel that we're coming out of a tough period and in a position to go and challenge for wins again.
Despite that, given the injury situation and the number of bodies that are unavailable, is there a keenness to get these deals done as early as we can in this window, rather than perhaps wait until the final few days?
Yeah, we want players in now, but then so again, there's every other club out there. So it really isn't as straightforward as what people think. But we've got plenty of irons in the fire. We've got plenty of people out there looking, searching, putting the work in to make sure that we get these players in. And we're very, very confident that we will have more bodies through the door over the next week or two.
In terms of injuries, what can you tell us about those players who are perhaps closest to a return? And do we know any more from Brentford about Ryan Trevitt?
Trev had his operation yesterday. We haven't had the report on what that is exactly yet, so he's going to be out for a significant number of weeks. We don't know exactly yet, and we don't know exactly the outcome of the operation. So when we get that feedback, I'm sure we'll have a few more definite answers this time next week. In terms of the other players, we've got lads that are close and hopefully going to be ready for us at the weekend. And then we've got one or two that are a few more weeks away than that. So it's been a frustrating time with those kind of injuries and the issues that it's caused us, but it's part and parcel of football.
On to the game itself then on Saturday. Carlisle two teams who find themselves in similar positions in the league table. Do you feel this game is a must-win game?
I think every game is a must-win game. I think that the term must-win, it's dramatic. It keeps people excited. It builds anticipation. It's great to talk about down the pub, and it's part and parcel of why people really enjoy football. But for us, it's the next game, and therefore it's the most important. I spoke earlier, and we speak behind the scenes. I'm very aware of how frustrating it is when every Thursday we sit here in front of a camera, we get asked very similar questions, and we have to be quite almost guarded in how we answer them. Every football club that we're about to play watches these, so we can't really sit here and just announce that everybody's going to be fully fit and ready to go, the same as we're not going to announce that so-and-so is not going to be fit, because it affects how teams prepare against us. We're not going to say outright if we're going to have players through the door. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes it's better that we don't divulge it for the game that's only 2 games away. And when it comes to must-win games, it really is the only game that we can affect is the next one. We're not bothered about Blackpool. We're not bothered about games in April. We're bothered about Carlisle. So that for a fan, I'm sure, is very frustrating because it's the same every week. I wouldn't even go into this level of detail talking about it, but I'm aware of a little bit of frustration that's out there. But we just have to keep our eyes on the prize, which is, training. As soon as we finish this, I leave here. I'm not thinking about anything except making sure the lads are as well prepared as they can be for the next game, and that starts in training today. So I do think that we can be a little bit more transparent with the fan base. I do think there's probably a time where we can sit down, have a forum sometime soon, and let people ask these questions in a more controlled environment where we can give context. Because obviously with any press thing, snippets can get taken, little sound bites can come out, and then from that it can sound like something completely different. So I think we're in a position where we'd like to do that, but we need to just make sure that we've got our ducks in a row and that we're out there on the pitch doing it before we can.
The last 2 home matches against Wycombe and Portsmouth, 2 very positive performances, 4 points, and there were some aspects of that game at Reading as well that were really positive. A fairly decent springboard to go into this game.
Yeah, we're happy with the performance levels. We're really happy with the performance level at Reading. It was moments in the game that cost us, and we've got young players that need to learn from those moments. But the 3 games over Christmas, the performance levels were high, the energy was high, the feel was good. We've scored goals, we've kept clean sheets, we've done the stuff that we've been asking them to do that got us to the top of the league not too long ago. So we need to make sure that mindset, that understanding, that level of intensity goes into the next game. And as I say, that starts with training today.